Good morning, David. Welcome to our Q&A, and this time is about funding. Funding for startups and super innovators.
Good morning, Hannah. Hello.
So now we are in the middle of a change in the funding process from the European Commission. So all the grants coming from EIC and other programs. So this is why we have this conversation today. So now, how can startups and SMEs get funding from EU?
Startups and SMEs can get funding from the EU in many different ways, of course. But when talking about innovation, the reference point is the program that is called today Horizon Europe, previously known as Horizon 2020. And this program has been just launched and offers several financing tools for startups and SMEs. I personally work especially on innovation, so the programs that I know better are the ones managed by an entity called European Innovation Council and called as well EIC, which is entirely focused on innovation and go-to-market projects.
Yeah, because before this was the SME instrument.
Yes.
And now everything is in the package of EIC.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah,
Okay.
in Horizon 2020 started the SME instrument program that is quite popular for small and medium companies, and now the European Commission has sort of reorganized all the innovation programs behind this European Innovation Council EIC. Yeah.
Okay, and what type of funding we can get from the EIC and the Horizon Europe?
So probably the most well-known funding is, of course, grants. So companies and SMEs can get grants from Horizon Europe. We all know that companies can get research grants, so grants, non-reimbursable grants to do research. But since last year, a couple of years ago, the EIC also started to offering investments. So the companies can get grants, but also equity investments from the EIC.
What are the criteria and requirements to apply? And because now, like, there is a new program, I think there is a change as well, because before it was SMEs at the beginning, first 50K, and then in the second phase it was to have 1 million, 2 million. So how is now a structure, and as well the criteria, how is the process to apply?
Yeah, so the criteria has been evolving a little bit during the last years. Initially, the program was mostly focused on small companies, I would say, more even than startups. And right now, the program is more focused on startups, but also small and medium companies, traditional companies can apply as long as they have an innovation. And I always like to say that it's more about the funding needs and the future projects than the stage of the company. So any SME can apply as long as it is an SME, so less than 250 employees and 50 million euro in turnover. But the real requirement is that this SME has a disruptive innovation. And currently the EIC has even strengthened the focus on disruptive innovation and what they call high impact, high risk, high impact projects. And I think this is the most important criteria. So companies need to really think visionary, think about projects that can change the future, can disrupt existing markets or even create new markets. And these are the type of projects that the EU is looking, or the EIC is looking for.
But then it's because this is one of the discussions we have always, like they focus always in deep tech and high levels of technology. And sometimes innovation is not only technology at all. So how do you see the other type of applications like marketplaces or innovation, like they are not technology? So they distribute this funding to another channels?
Yeah,
or what can do the other companies, like they are not building robots?
Yeah, very, very good question, actually, because you and I, we work in innovation, we work with a lot of startups, and we get this question many times. And the reality is that the funding, the EU funding, is very biased towards deep tech and science-based innovations. That's the reality. And of course, there are some very specific programs that are more focused on service model innovations or things like that. But most of the funding is going for research-based, science-based innovation.
And now the process changed a little bit. I heard now like we have to send a 1-minute video as a first step of the application.
Yes. So the as you probably know, during the last years, the number of applications have been growing, which of course creates a lot of also workload at the EU, at the European Commission, and they were receiving thousands of applications, and only hundreds sometimes are funded. No, so they want to reduce the number of full applications that they evaluate. So that's why they have they have changed the process, and now there is a first pre-qualification phase in which the company needs to submit a video, short video, a pitch deck, and a short proposal, and so that it takes a very short period of time to prepare this short proposal, and companies don't need to spend so much time in preparing the full proposal from the beginning. I think it's a good idea. It will reduce the number of applications. It will reduce the time that companies are spending in creating applications, and it will reduce the workload as well at the EIC. And also it is a good idea because I think there are many companies that are applying that shouldn't be applying, are not good candidates for this project. So probably they can just prepare this short proposal, a video, and they will probably get a no, but which is a bad news, of course, but they will not waste so much time, you know.
Yeah, and from the other side, because you are helping startups to apply to the EIC until the Horizon Europe now, how is for you this change in your work?
So to be honest, I think for us it's not gonna be like a big change. Before, like two years ago, we had this phase 1, phase 2 approach. So we had something similar. There was this phase 1 phase, which was also like a pre-qualification, and we had an almost 100% success rate in phase 1. So this is not gonna impact us a lot, I think. So we just because most of the companies that we work with, we do ourselves this pre-assessment. So we already say no to many companies that we think are not good candidates. The only thing is that, of course, the process is going to take longer because we will need to prepare this short proposal, pitch deck, and then wait for up to 6 weeks to get the result in order to be able to apply to the full proposal stage. So it will take longer. But on the other hand, it's also a sort of way to work first with our clients on the strategy and on the pitch before writing a very long document. So, and I think that's something good, and somehow the EIC is pushing us to do that and pushing the clients to do that, which I think is really good. First, you need to identify the objectives, the main strategy of the project. You have to do a very short document, a pitch deck, and then you can write the full proposal. So I think it's good, apart from the thing that we will need to wait for the results.
Yeah. Yeah, it's keeping as well the sense of building a relationship as well with your customers.
Yes, yes. It's I think for us, for me at least, as I see it, after working in this for many years now, I think sometimes this grant writing industry is a little bit confused in the sense that they think that it's about writing, but it's mostly about a strategy. So the projects that are winning are not winning because the English or the writing is excellent, which should be as well, of course, but they are winning because the technology is unique, because the business model is very scalable, because the strategy is the right one, because they are asking for the right amount of money, because they are trying to work with the right clients in the right markets. Those decisions are the ones that really make a project successful for the EIC and also for investors. And something that is good about the new EIC is that it's blending both things. So now we cannot even more talk about the public funding strategy as a separate thing from the private funding strategy. So it needs to be the same thing. And this is also a strategic change that the EIC has been evolving over time, and I think it's good. The EIC is now more about the company strategy, not so much about a project. And I think this makes sense, because otherwise in the past we were seeing like very constructed projects, no, for the EU that were not so much close to reality. And now, as the EIC has defined the templates and the application process, both things have to be the same thing. The company strategy, you need to have one company strategy, you need to have one public funding strategy and one private funding strategy, and everything must be aligned. That's the only way forward.
Yeah, that's very good. And my question is about the other criteria, about the woman.
Well, I know you.
How are you feeling about this, David?
I know you are working very hard to push women in tech, which is, I think, is something good. The EIC has introduced this criteria in which they say that they will prioritize up to 40% of the interviews, at least, no, being with companies led by women, which I think it's, I mean, we need to see what is going to happen, no? Because the reality is that, of course, the European Commission is setting a new criteria at the end of the process. It's a way to, of course, it's a way to foster and to push more women into applying to these funds and
into the innovation. I think the point is as well, like, half of the population, because really there are 30 to 40% of women entrepreneurs, they are not getting funding. No. And there's the consequences, like these innovations designed by women, they are not in the market, because you need a lot of push on finance to get to the market. Yeah. So this is the idea. And as well, I think, like we discussed previously, maybe they have to redefine what is innovation for them. If it's European Innovation Council, we are talking not about only technology. I think this one has to be clarified. If it's what is innovation for them, which kind of, because they say areas, sustainability, very good, but it's not only tech sustainability. It's not only deep tech sustainability, for instance. No. You know, could be a lot of social innovation, like it's providing the change and ways to change the culture of how to be sustainable inside organizations and in our society. So I think this part of innovation definition and the bias towards technology could be a very good approach to redefine.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I understand the criteria about women, because the whole idea of course of public funding, no, in general, is to fill a gap, no, in the market, is actually to solve a market problem, no, and is that there is not funding, no, there is not funding for a specific type of innovation. So that's when the public funding comes and helps, no. So I think that's the idea of public funding for research, because otherwise research will never get to the market, probably, because no reasonable investor will invest, I don't know, 50 million euro now in quantum. So it's difficult, you know, it's difficult to do that for a private investor.
Yeah,
So,
to experiment. They are not experimenting at all.
exactly. So I understand that, and I think the idea with women is more or less the same. No, there is a market failure in which investors are not investing in women, and then the public funding is trying to solve that problem. No,
Yeah.
and
Let's
that's
see it that way.
yeah, and I think that's a good idea, but I'm not sure on how to do it. No, so I'm not sure if putting a quota of 40% is good or bad. I don't have the numbers myself about how many women there are now. So I don't have a very well established criteria about it.
Yeah. So another question: what is the difference between European Innovation Council and Horizon Europe? You know, from a startup perspective and company SME.
Horizon Europe is the whole program, no? The whole research, development and innovation program, and the whole budget, no? For all these activities. So within Horizon Europe, there are programs for all types of entities, like universities, corporations, municipalities, everything, any type of entity. And then there are several entities that are more focused on different aspects, like the European Innovation Council, focused on innovation, the European Research Council, focused on research. So most probably, if you are doing basic research, you would be more interested to apply to calls promoted by the ERC, the European Research Council, no?
Well, David, now for the final question, which kind of calls or interesting points are to apply this year?
This year, something that the EIC has included under the accelerator program are also vertical calls. So there are some vertical calls for some topics, such as digital applications, healthcare applications, and also green applications, clean tech. And I think usually these vertical, more specialized calls are more interested at the open calls, no? So companies should really look into that, I think.
So it could be more everything related to sustainability.
Yeah, sustainability is a very good topic, and also digital, and there are some health priorities also defined. And also with regards to sustainability, there are some specific priorities in energy storage, in building renovation, hydrogen, and there is one more, I don't remember. So there are some priorities that companies should look into.
Thank you very much, David. Thank you very much. I think that's the first video for this year, to clarify and to understand all the new funding and how we can apply, and we contact you to apply.
Thank you, Cara.
Thank you, David.
Bye.